So, Brad, there's been a lot of movies or shows we could have talked about. We could have talked about the new Dahmer, which is a salacious little tabloid-esque glamorizing.
Right.
It's a hot issue.
It's a hot take, for sure.
We could have tried to watch all of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinets of Curiosity. We could have... But we settled on The Mist, Brian. Why did we watch The Mist?
We settled on The Mist because if horror means thinking that life is meaningless and wanting to die, then The Mist is the greatest horror movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And we also chose it because it's not about the monsters outside. It's about the monsters within
our souls.
Yeah.
Within our society.
Society. We live in a society. What was your impression of it?
Right. It was interesting. I liked how in the start it was just very like quiet, very like somber, and then a tree just smashes through the house. So I feel like the tree is sort of like the precursor to the mist and the monsters, because everyone's very like unassuming, or doesn't think anything's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden it just shows up, kind of like a storm or a tree smashing through your house. He is working on a poster for The Dark Tower, but we also see a poster for The Thing, which I thought was interesting. The foreshadowing or the setting up was really, really good in this movie. Like, everything had a little setup somehow. Mm-hmm. And I feel like The Thing was sort of not just a nod to like another classic horror movie, but also to show like, oh, there's gonna be like a lot of body horror, which I didn't really expect, but there was kind of a lot of it, especially when they go to the pharmacy, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I like how it just is a very run-in-the-mill, like, if this wasn't about people getting stuck in a store in the mist and the monsters, I don't know what this movie would have been about. Right. Maybe like race relations or something, because it's very obvious that somebody thinks that there's maybe prejudice when there isn't. I think, what's his name? Holt, Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Mm-hmm. He when his tree lands on the boathouse, and he's kind of like, oh, maybe we should get like insurance, and he's just kind of like, right.
He's like, he takes it personally, like he's being persecuted. Yeah. Even though he's the one, he sues people. That's established in the movie, that he goes around suing people. So how is he the victim, right? If he's the one being like, I'm taking you to court. It's like, my dog peed on your lawn. It's like, I'm taking you to court. Yeah. But, and then even, it's not even that he has like a persecution complex. He's like, well, I guess it is, but like, he's just real paranoid. He's like, you're playing, like when they tell him about the monster, he's like, you're playing a practical joke on me, and everyone's in on it, and everyone, you're all in on it.
Oh, let's all laugh at the black guy, and everyone's like, whoa, like, nobody even said anything about.
You people are being stampeded, you know that? There are 4 witnesses to this supposed event. One I don't trust at all because he has a grudge against me.
You know what I liked about this movie, though? What? Is how, since almost everybody was like a townie and sort of knew everybody and everybody's business, for better or for worse, whether because you're a crazy religious nut who wants to call people out on their sins, or if you're just a friendly guy, there wasn't really, excuse me, there wasn't really a ton of, like, oh, that's Old Man McGurdy. He used to own the apple patch, but then the he got grout, or there was like a little bit of that, but it was never just like there was never that one character, because Captain Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine like lives there, but he doesn't always. He's like, it's like a second house or whatever. So there was never like you're kind of new to the neighborhood. Well, that's her and that's him, and I like that, because you just sort of, it's not really about like their backstories. It's kind of more about like how they react to the fog, the mist. Sorry, and
Yeah, they're like on purpose. They're kind of stereotypes so that we don't have to spend too much time going over. Like it's like, okay, here's the small town cashier woman, and then here's the kind of the other main character is kind of this like no nonsense woman who has to look after his kid for whatever reason. And
real fast. I love how, and I think we can talk more about like the themes and all that stuff in a sec. But like the dad he has this weird complex, like a hero complex. He even says it later. He's like, I said I'd fix the. We'll jump ahead for a second. He goes back to his house. They're able to get out of the grocery store. He goes to his house to see his wife. Wife is dead. And the window that was broken in the tree supposedly led to like all the monsters getting in the house. And he's like, I said I'd fix the window and I'm the man, and I said I'd fix the window but I didn't fix the window and I'm the man. So he has this weird like, I'm the guy, I'll fix it.
Right.
And he's very detached. He never mentions his wife. Like other people will say like, oh, I have to get back to my kids. I hope blank is okay. Never says it. Always pushes the kid off to someone else, and he has like this weird detachment from like people and his family specifically. Yet he wants to save everybody.
How was it that I know I'll have to get to that later. I'm like skipping ahead again, but yeah, he wants to save. He wants to be the man, but like he doesn't want to be a father. He wants to be but
a true man.
Right, a true man, not one of those gay dad men.
He fancies himself a cowboy who can't cope with society, and he has to walk off. I forget which movie that is, but I love that one.
Or like even when the monster, the first monster gets in the garage, the tentacle monster. Yeah. Like the monster's leaving the garage. And then at the last second, he's like, yeah, fuck you. And then, like, it hits him with the axe. Even though,
just get the last word in.
Right. The last word.
Yeah, that is strange. And we were talking about it while we were watching the movie. But, like, in like, a horror movie, right, there's the cliche of, like, hey, maybe just, like, run sooner. Or, like, think a little bit.
Right.
This movie takes it to, like, a whole new level where nobody reacts. Nobody thinks. A giant monster is like swarming around them, and they're just like for way too long.
Oh, the people are definitely once shit gets real, everyone becomes real useless real fast.
And I get it where they're just normal people. They're obviously not used to these fight or flight situations, but like it's a little too much, right? Like everyone is just kind of like, ooh.
And it took them 20 minutes to figure out that the light was attracting the bugs.
There's a saying, an acronym for storytelling that I think this movie... I don't know about the Stephen King short story that it's based off of, because I haven't read that, but the movie at least, really, like, the writer had this, like, taped to his computer monitor. It's called KISS. It's called Keep It Simple, Stupid.
Right.
And I think this movie really does that well, where it's very, very simple. It's just, okay, people are stuck.
I agree, yeah.
There is this unknown force that they're all, like, reacting to. And it's really just about them, like what do they do? It's not, like you said, it's not about the monsters. It's not about why they show up or why they leave or how they leave. It's just about the people's reactions to them.
I thought what was real interesting was that from the very beginning of it establishes that like the Mrs. Religious lady, she's been terrorizing the town this whole time, right? Like before the monster show, no one likes her, and no one knows what to do with her. The only thing that the one main character can figure out to do, there's an older woman who just throws a can of peas at her, and then another woman slaps her. Like, so the only thing people are like, how do we solve this complex issue? Violence. Like, and that's the only thing anyone, even at the very end, we can spoil the movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When the grocery store employee shoots her.
Yeah.
Like.
Twice.
Right, so there really, at the end of the day, there's no what to do in this situation.
I was wondering, what was the significance, do you think, of that one woman who left early on, who was like, I need to get back to my kid? And she makes it. And not only does she make it to her house, she somehow gets in contact with the army because she's on that van, cargo. It's not a cargo. I don't know what you call it.
The military van.
Yeah. Here's a picture of it. You know what I'm talking about. But like, so somehow she makes it all this way, and I was wondering like what the significance of her was. It because she just wanted to get back to her kids? Like her intentions were like pure, whereas the main character, he just wanted to leave. Like I don't know really why. I think it's just that human. Like, we have to get out of this situation. And also, he was with his hero complex. He's like, I'm going to save everyone.
I think so. I think because, yeah, he was never like, I have to get back to my wife. He's just like,
never mentions the wife.
Like, God, I hate this grocery store. Like, we've got to get out of here. Yeah, it was interesting to see her at the end. I forgot about that. There are a lot of things I forgot rewatching this movie. It's interesting how different people, I think, cope in different ways to the monsters.
Yeah, there's a lot of like denial. There's a lot of doubling down on your already established mindset where the church lady was just like, oh, this is like, it's like a field day. I'm going to get a whole congregation going.
You've already psyched out half a dozen of my people already.
Your people? What kind of talk is that? They are people, that's all.
Now listen, everyone. We are experiencing some kind of disaster. I don't know whether it's man-made or natural, but I do know that it's definitely not supernatural or biblical. And no offense, Mrs. Carmody, but the only way we're going to help ourselves is to seek rescue.
Well, we got to talk about the monsters.
Yeah, definitely.
We've neglected them. I think, and this might just be me, one of the little mosquito-looking ones, their face kind of looks like the evil bug in Bug's Life. I don't know if that's just me or not.
Well, they had like faces.
Yeah.
With like I think it was the spiders had teeth. Like yeah, they were just absolutely.
I hated how they looked, but they looked great.
Yeah, they looked great. They were gross.
They were so gross. And then when like that guy is cocooned in the pharmacy a little bit, and then spiders are bursting out of,
yeah. I thought it was cool how the tentacles kind of they transformed from like octopus tentacles to like the spiked kind of insect.
Yeah.
That he was just ripping chunks off of that guy, just like suction cupping his.
Was he eating it from the tentacle too, or just ripping parts off?
I thought the tentacle almost like had a mouth at that point.
I thought so too. Yeah, it's so cool. Then at the end you see one of them just super tall, and then you have like the little pterodactyl buzzard looking ones like flying around them and stuff. It was really, really cool.
It was good Lovecraftian horror because the monster design was definitely it like even though it was tentacles, it wasn't like a sea creature, and I would probably have to say that like the pterodactyls were pretty close to being straight up pterodactyls. But also, I guess it's so translating Lovecraftian horror from a book to a movie, like a visual medium, is very hard because in a book you can just say, "Oh, what it's an unspeakable horror with all kinds of convolutions and like you can
contusions,
right, and you can kind of be vague and kind of leave the actual image of the creature up to the audience's imagination, whereas in a visual medium you have to show what it looks like. But I think they did a good job. The mosquito shit, that even those stupid mosquitoes can just one shot you. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they like bite you or like the young grocery store woman who was totally about to have premarital sex and then she died. So what's that tell you?
Right, what does that say? Actually, this movie is pro-Christian propaganda. To go back in Lovecraft, I think that The Mist is a good addition to like Lovecraftian horror because normally it's not about society in Lovecraft because Lovecraft didn't really believe in society. He believed in staying home. And he didn't like people. He thought that anyone who didn't live in his home city was a foreigner. you know? It's like, damn foreigners.
True
it's like,
xenophobia.
Yeah, true xenophobia. And so he never really delves into, like, the monsters causing society to collapse, but this, in, like, a microcosm, just kind of shows that faced with these things, people just, they give up on their normal social institutions. Oh, I thought it was an interesting detail is that the grocery store manager is like criticizing the employee, like, are you drinking a beer? It's like, bro, listen, we're drinking beer, okay? Like, don't worry about it. Like, it sucks we only have beer, we don't have, like, pure, you know, wood grain alcohol, whatever, like, these unspeakable, like, of all of the bad ways to cope, that was probably the least bad way to cope.
Yeah, he was still very much like the rules and look, like, nothing is going on, so, like, why are you drinking on the job?
Right.
Yeah, that was, but then he does kind of come around and he leaves with them, but then he gets all turned around and ends up right back in the grocery store.
Yeah,
but he did turn around. He wasn't with the religious nut and all that.
True.
So, yeah, I would say he's like the one character who starts one way, although the mechanic a little bit. Nah.
No, the mechanic starts out an asshole and he ends up an asshole.
Yeah, he just becomes religious at the end.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it was the manager then. He was like the only one with a change.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, what would you give this movie if you could, like a rating?
Give this movie? I'd probably give this movie, I'd say, as long as we're not gonna say that the CGI is too dated, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
You know what? I think I'd give it like a 5 or a 6, only because 5 or 6 minutes later and his son would have still been alive. He just held out.
Yeah, the ending is definitely
Oh, that's a brutal scene. That's brutal.
It's definitely, like, on one hand, like, I took it, like, really, like, rough when I first saw it. I'm like, wow, this is so depressing and sad. But another person could see that and be like, this is stupid, I don't get it. Like,
oh, it was more of like, this is sad, but it's also a perfect comedy.
Yeah, perfect black comedy.
Thank you.